everyone, this is Mandy and I'm going to demonstrate how to make kinetic typography like the one you just saw in Apple's Motion 5. In case you didn't know, kinetic typography is another way of saying moving text. This is a very basic tutorial to get you started with kinetic typography in Motion. So we're going to start by opening up Motion. Now I'm using version 5, but in other versions the user interface may be different. To start, choose Motion Project. Preset should be set to Broadcast HD 1080. Frame rate of 29.97 FPS-NTSC. Duration depends on the project, but I'm setting mine to 20 seconds. Click Open when you have the proper settings. In the top right corner, the default view setting is 100%, but we want arrows that fit in the window. Click the Render drop-down menu and choose Best Quality. If the computer is running slow, set the render back to normal. Make sure the save zones are on. Now we can really get started. Let's use the rectangle tool. Click the icon here or press R on the keyboard, whichever works for you. Just click and drag from one corner to another until a rectangle covers the whole work area. Skip this step if you prefer the default black background. One more thing before we get into the text. This is just so the white doesn't look so bland. Let's go into Library, Filters, Stylize. Scroll all the way down the vignette. Click Apply. Click on Inspector. The size is fine at 0.76, fall off at 0.5, blur amount of 6, darken at 0.32, and saturation at 0.3. Click on the rectangle layer and click the little arrow next to it. There, now we have a beautiful vignette. This will also help focus on the text. Let's start using the text tool. Again, click the icon or hit the T on your keyboard. Click and type YOL. The default color for fonts is white, which clashes with the white background we have, so let's open up the HUD. Choose the HUD icon to bring it up. Click on the white box and this will open up the crayon box. Choose the color Eggplant. Beautiful. Choose whatever font you like to use, but here I'm going to use Maloriac. If you don't have it, you can easily download it from ufonts.com. The size looks just right at 171 pixels. Hit the Escape key on the keyboard to exit the text tool. These little handles allow us to transform the text. We want to move the text to the middle. Yellow guidelines will help put the text in the exact middle. Looks good. This is where the fun begins. Using Motion's 3D camera, we create the whole moving concept of kinetic typography. So let's create a camera. A prompt will pop up and ask if you'd like to switch to 3D or keep as 2D. We're going to click Switch to 3D. As you can see on the layers to our left, a camera has been added. Kinetic typography in Motion is basically creating a camera and switching to 3D, and then using Motion's record feature. So let's do that. In the top right, under the Render and View drop-down menus, we have camera controls. There are 4, but we're only going to be concerning ourselves with the Pan Camera and Dolly Camera buttons. Clicking the Pan button and dragging left and right will move the camera left and right. Clicking the Dolly button and dragging up and down will zoom the camera in and out. Feel free to get accustomed to the buttons before you begin recording. With the camera layer selected, click the Properties tab and use the position settings to move the camera. Increasing or decreasing the X value will move the camera left or right. Increasing or decreasing the Y value will move the camera up or down. Increasing or decreasing the Z value will zoom the camera in and out. With all 3 set at 0, you are in what I like to call absolute middle. Let's add the second word, have, with the text tool. Again, we're going to open the HUD and change the color to Eggplant. With kinetic typography, it's easier to have each word on its own layer, and that's why we didn't put everything in one text box on one layer. Have should be fine at 171 pixels. Now let's add A and whole on their own layers. Set the size to 110 pixels for both. For the next word, eternity, we're going to set the color to plum with the size at 143 pixels. Put it right under a hole. Now we have enough text to get recording going. Let's zoom into the text. You can use either method that I described to you, but I'm going to use the Properties tab on the left. I've got my camera zoomed in at negative 1288 pixels. Go down to the timeline and move the other layers to the right like so. You can select more than one layer by holding down the Command key. We want the layers spread out to look like a staircase. Hold down the Command key to deselect the bottom layer. Move the other layers over and repeat. Now we can hit the record button. Move the playhead over to where half begins. Pan down using the upper right hand corner camera controls or the position settings on the left so that half is down in the middle of the screen. Repeat this step with the other layers until eternity is in the middle. Move the playhead and reposition. Move the playhead and reposition. Click the little plus magnifying glass on the bottom to zoom into the timeline. This will help you place the playhead more accurately. Once eternity is in the middle, click the record button again to turn it off. Hit the home key on your keyboard to put the playhead at the beginning of the timeline. Hit the space bar and play what you've got so far. Looks good, right? What's that? You can see part of the black? Well, this is an easy fix. Just click the rectangle layer and click and drag the blue dot down. Good! That's pretty much it for this tutorial. All the fancy schmancy effects from here on is just utilizing the record feature and rotating the camera or resizing the text. Again, this is a basic tutorial to get you started. Play around and have some fun. There's so many possibilities with this. I hope you learned something new today. Mandy out.